Kyle Busch wins, but late blocks and green-white checkers are the bigger story. And let's also talk about that Ryan Preece, Kyle Larson wreck. Coming up next. What is going on, everyone? Hope you are doing good today. All right, Kyle Busch gets his second win of the season. That makes it, for those of you keeping score at home, 2 for Kyle Busch, 1 for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I don't really care one way or the other. I'm just doing some fun trolling. Somebody will be set off by that, though. But either way, gets his second win of the season. It is his first win at Talladega in 15 years. That, to me, man, first off, 15 years is a lot sooner than, in my mind at least, than it seems like. But man, 15 years since he's won at Talladega. So I was a little bit surprised by that. Big win for him, bumps him up to 5th in points. He continues his resurgence, and he said that he is working harder this year than he's worked probably in 4 years because RCR stuck their neck out. At least he said that in the post-race interview. So he is putting maximum effort into this, and Richard Childress Racing has said, Richard Childress himself has said he's helping to build RCR back to what it was. So good win for him. Unfortunately, it was not probably the biggest story of the day. The biggest story of the day was, well, blocks. And it was 2 blocks in particular. The first one being between Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson came down late on Ross Chastain. It was a small gap, but it's Ross Chastain. You know he is going to fill that small gap. The people that hate Ross Chastain will continue to hate Ross Chastain, but he actually, in my opinion, didn't necessarily do anything wrong. It was the end of the race. You're going for the win. Noah Gragson, in my opinion, didn't do anything wrong. It's the end of the race. You're going for the win. You have to throw that block. I didn't see where either guy did anything wrong. It's just something that is created by these green-white checkered situations, which I'm going to get to next. The other crash that everybody wants to talk about was Bubba Wallace versus Ryan Blaney. End of the race. Bubba Wallace is throwing 2 or 3 blocks there, trying to hold Ryan Blaney back, but he couldn't do it because, well, Ryan Blaney was just faster at that point in the race. Being in the lead is just a detriment at these type of tracks. Bubba Wallace was doing everything he could to win this race, and after the race, he even took the blame for it. He said, hey, yeah, my fault. I was throwing late blocks, but I was trying to win the race. And so, I mean, it is what it is. But once again, if you're Ryan Blaney, man, another race taken away from you, like I said, man, if these things ended under yellow like they probably should, because NASCAR wants to save these teams money, get rid of the green-white checkers. If it finishes under yellow, Ryan Blaney finally gets another win, and we don't have to talk about Ryan Blaney being winless, even though he won the All-Star race last year. So, yeah, to me, both incidents were the exact same. It was a late block, but for whatever reason, Ross Chastain's the bad guy in one of them, and Bubba Wallace is the bad guy in the other one. Bubba Wallace throws the late block, so he's the bad guy. Ross Chastain fills the gap, doesn't even block at all. Noah Gragson actually throws the block, but somehow Ross Chastain is the bad guy. So it's just one of those deals. People are gonna pull for who they pull for, and that's the way I see that one. The second component of that, though, is the only reason we had that situation is because the green-white checkered. If we didn't have the green-white checkered, we wouldn't have had those 2 wrecks that demolished the field, especially the second one that really tore up the field. So if NASCAR really wants to save these teams money like they claim they do, how about we get rid of the green-white checkered or only have one attempt at the green-white checkered, especially at super speedways, because all it does is tear up equipment, and NASCAR has been on this big kick about teams need to save money, So probably need to at least take a look at modifying the green-white checkered if they're going to keep it. And speaking of that green-white checkered, the Ryan Preece, Kyle Larson wreck in one of those green-white checkers was just crazy looking. You can see right here where Ryan Preece's helmet almost or is touching the steering wheel. That is disturbing to see. You never want to see that situation. And then, of course, you see right here Kyle Larson's car. That thing is absolutely tore up. This car is supposed to be a tank. It's supposed to be super rigid. And when you see wrecks like this, you gotta, something definitely went wrong, but you also have to worry about the safety. NASCAR has taken this car back, according to Bob Pockrass, to the R&D center to look at it to see how it reacted in this type of wreck. But unfortunately, this is one of those situations where we heard on the TV screen, Ryan Preece gassed up trying to shoot the gap to get past Kyle Larson. And it's a split-second decision. I understand what he was trying to do there, but man, man, when you see a wreck like that and it's a caution, it is best to just slow down. It's pretty much what you're taught. When you see the yellow or when you see an incident in front of you, just slow down. Don't gas up and try to go through it. That's actually the reason why they started freezing the field where they froze it, so people didn't race back to the yellow flag to advance their position, because it created a dangerous situation, so people wouldn't gas up under yellows. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, Ryan Preece decided to gas up on the yellow. I understand he was trying to miss the car, but it was incredibly stupid to me. And hopefully he learned his lesson and never gasses up under it again, because that was a terrible shot that he took, and definitely a terrible shot that Kyle Larson took. All right, let's get on to good race, bad race. Good race, of course, for Kyle Busch. He gets his second win of the season and second win for RCR. Good race for Ryan Blaney, but once again, doesn't get that win. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. Chris Buescher finishes third. Good race for him. Chase Briscoe hangs in there after an early spin on pit road. You didn't think he would have much of a day, but he recovers and gets fourth place. Brad Keselowski finishes fifth. That is the first time since Trevor Bayne and maybe Ricky Stenhouse Jr. that RFK has finished in the top five. Eric Jones is sixth. William Byron seventh. Christopher Bell eighth. Daniel Suarez 9th, Todd Gilliland 10. Todd Gilliland making a name for himself, making a good case that he needs to be in some better equipment here coming up soon. And Eric Jones at sixth place finish really needed that sixth place finish. And your points leader, Christopher Bell, continues to do his thing, finishing 8th. Also, not for nothing, J.J. Yaley finishing 11th. He continues to show what people can do with that Rick Ware equipment. He's in Rick Ware equipment, but he's getting good finishes here and there with it, doing more than anybody I've seen in that RWR stuff. Chase Elliott 12th. Tyler Reddick with 13th. He was another one that wrecked on pit road. The first guy that wrecked on pit road, he recovers to 13th. Alex Bowman 14th, and Denny Hamlin rounds out your top 15. Now on to bad race. It was a bad race for Harrison Burton. At one point, he was leading this race, being pushed by Noah Gragson, who also is back here and finished 32nd. Also, Ty Gibbs back there, finishing 31st. Both of those guys had good runs going, collected in some of those late race incidents. Bubba Wallace, aforementioned, that late block cost him a good finish. He finishes 28th back there. And, of course, it was a bad race for Austin Dillon, who becomes the Omega to Kyle Busch's Alpha. So, yeah, RCR finished first and last in the same race. So, one of those crazy things that happens from time to time. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, feel free to subscribe down below. All your subscriptions mean a lot to this channel, and I really, really do appreciate them. If you've already subscribed, you know I appreciate you guys as well. If you got a question, comment, or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many of them as I can, and other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.